Boop, boop, boop. Doo, doo. What's going on out there, peeps? How's everyone doing? What's going on, JR? Jolly, how you doing? Truth, how you doing? Appreciate you guys checking in. Hector, how you doing? Joseph, what's up? Good. Glad you guys are doing good. I see everybody survived the apocalypse from yesterday. Is that right? Terry, how you doing, sweetie? I hear you. I'm in Cali too, huh? Where you at in Cali? What's up, Vern? Yeah, I remember. I was like, I was looking for zombies yesterday. How disappointing! No zombies at all, huh? You was in Southern? I mean, you're in Southern now. Was it Northern? Yeah, it's funny. I was in Southern and now I'm in Northern. What's going on, Ben? Mill Valley. All right, there you go. Yeah, I lived in the Bay Area for a while. I lived in Alameda. Talk about a crazy place. But it isn't crazy like now. Now it's really out of control. Vern from San Francisco. Man, I'm so sorry. That whole city is terrible. I don't know if you guys, people who come from California that know California. Now I lived in Southern California and I lived in Northern California. And San Francisco is just, it's terrible, man. It is literally so sad to see. When you go there, all the stores are closed. Everything looks like crap. There's so much homelessness in there. It's really sad. It's it really, really is sad because there's a lot of culture in San Francisco. It's like a hodgepodge of people from all around the world, and it's destroyed, absolutely destroyed. And then when I go down to Southern California, you go through Los Angeles, it looks like a third world country. I mean, what the Democrats did to this state is just terrible. I moved up in the mountains a long time ago to get away from all that crap, and I'm grateful that I did. But man, it is sad. It's hard not to, and this is going to sound wussified, but it's hard not to cry when you're there because you just see what they've done to these towns, what they've done to these cities are just torn apart. There's a guy who does YouTube videos. He goes to all the major cities all up and down California, and he films it, and you could see how much the towns are tore up. You know, Sacramento, San Francisco, Oakland, Alameda. I mean, Alameda is nothing; it's a little tiny place, but I mean, Oakland, California, San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose. Man, San Jose looks terrible. I used to party there a lot, and I went there. Like, it's terrible looking, man. Absolutely terrible. Cody says you get what you vote for. Did they vote for it? Is that the question? Did we actually vote for this? I don't think so. They said it rained in Tennessee. Yeah, I was waiting for it to get really dark and then get really light. At the time, they said it was visible to Los Angeles. I was like, uh, Los Angeles is not that far from where I'm at, and I don't see any eclipse. Apparently, it happened early in the morning. I just missed it. But everybody was worried about the end of the world and the apocalypse and everything else. I was like, yeah, I don't know. I didn't see any zombies. I got all my zombie weapons, man. I was excited. JR says we were building in the hard. Was it? We were building the Hard Festival in Oakland and got all the trucks out. All the trucks were broken into and robbed. Oh man, that's terrible. Sorry to hear that. The eclipse was overly hyped. Yeah, everybody, dude. I mean, on YouTube, they have all these apocalypse, all this end of the world, biblical stuff in there. Then people who are just crazy talking about the eclipse. And me, I'm like, I'll just be bored. All I know is that what is it? Today's the end of Ramadan. Is that right? Are we supposed to hear something about the dinar? What happened? Hmm? Nothing again? Is that right? I was waiting for all the crazy posts, but I guess not. Thomas Trucking Company owned and operated, retired. Retired? Yeah, that's a good life to be. The funny thing is I'm 56. I just turned 56 not that long ago, and I've been retired since I turned 50. Well, kind of retired, but Retired life isn't what it's cut out to be. What it's cut out to be. I don't know if it's just because of my age. I'm usually very active and hyper, and I travel a lot. So I'm trying to learn how to. I don't want to travel too much right now because everything is so crazy right now. But I want to travel a whole lot more. Um, the retired life, maybe because I busted my ass for. I know there's people out there going, "What do you mean? I barely retired. Like Vern said, I'm 73, man. You retired at 50? Yeah, kind of. But, just who is this? Frank 26 is shopping for a house. Is that right? More power to him. I'm sure if he's got a Patreon group like everybody else does, then he's probably made a pretty good money. Retirement isn't what you make it of. Oh, retirement is what you make it of. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I agree with that. I need to be more active than I am. Sitting around and drinking all day long, it's not a good thing, man. So it's just crazy. Vietnam vet, 1970, 74. Is that right? I think my dad is 68 to 72. Mike Penn, what are you saying, bro? Gold or silver? Having a run. Yes. Here's the crazy thing. All bullshit aside, you guys. Silver and gold are not technically on a run. They haven't, not yet. I know they're going up in value, but it's commodities in general. I was listening to Chris over there at Arcadia Economic, and he had Ralphie on, and Ralphie was explaining why you could tell, gold or silver haven't had their run yet. If gold and silver are jumping up like they are now, and they still yet have had a run, where the hell the price is going to go to? I told everybody when gold hit 2,300, it was going to take off like a bat out of hell. And what do we got? Silver is it still above 26 or above 27 now, right? Uh oh, is that what he said? So everybody's telling me, well, the latest thing with Frank is he's been playing all these phone calls from banks, and is that right? He's waiting. He's shopping for houses because he's waiting for the Dinar thing to revalue. Hmm. Is it true that 100 trillion dinars in the streets of the USA? I don't know about 100 trillion, but the average, I was surprised to hear this. The average dinar holder, you ready for this? Only holds 250,000 dinars. Anyways, I posted a video early this morning, like right after midnight, um, showing you guys there was a study that was done, and this person was saying, in their opinion, let me see if I can pull it up. Hopefully, I don't mess this up. Share my screen. Let's see. Let's go with the where is let me try to is that the one right here? Here's how to calculate. Okay, I'm gonna give this a try. Oh, is it there? Should be there. It won't give me the option to share. That's weird. No. Anyways, I'm not sure why it won't let me share the screen. Anyways, I did a video last night. So I read this book, but a friend of mine, he does know about currencies. And we were talking, and he said, "Why do you guys waiting for this announcement? You can get an idea of where the currency is going to be." He said, "There's formulas for this." And he said, "I'm not going to tell you what it is, but he told me all these different things you have to look up, like using the purchasing purchasing power parity and all this stuff. And man, all night I kept playing with the numbers, reading my ass off, studying what all these things mean. And he goes, this is the formula that they use." And once I figured it out, I was like, okay, so where is this taking me? And I did the numbers. I go, is this right? Did I do this right? He goes, yeah. So what does it say? I said, well, according to this formula, if this is right, he goes, they use this to keep a close monitor on what the real rate of the dinar is. Now, look, they were overinflated, they were hyperinflated, but in that article I left, for those of you who don't know, just go to the video I left last night, and it talks about that. But in there, I gave you guys the links to the whole entire study or the book. You guys can read it, and it tells you what they're expecting of Iraq. There, even the person that wrote the book said that if they can get their inflation down, and it is down, by the way, and they can catch up to the dinar price parity. Okay, you got to look that up. That'll be fun. If they get inflation down and get around to price parity, you're looking at a dinar. The person in the book said it should be at the pre-Gulf War rate, and everybody's been talking about that hype for the longest time, which is over $3. So after I did the formula based on all the information he gave me, it did come out to 356 is what it came out to, $3.56. And I said, wow, that's going to be phenomenal. You know what I mean? It's $3.56. What are you saying there, JR? Goes the same as you. Hopefully we're coming up. That would be epic. Hey, did you end up doing the formula? Yeah, I already did it before I released it. You guys, man, I was so exhausted. And that's the kind of studying I do all the time. You guys, I'm constantly reading studies and stuff, but for me, it's not just about the dinar and figuring out what it is, but it also is, I'm really curious on trying to learn as much as possible. So if I start getting into currencies, I know what to look for whenever I'm trying to find whatever the next big possible deal is with currencies. You know what I mean? There's a lot of countries out there in which you could profit off these currencies if you know what you're looking for. So I'm trying to see if there is a formula involved in this. But yeah, so the formula comes out to Iraqi dinar being $3.56. Okay. Now that is worth getting excited about. And the good thing in there is an article. It's not an article, it's a study. The study does tell you that there's no reason that Iraq can't be, the most valuable currency out there. You got to read it because the guy goes into explaining why. And so that is exciting. Now, the issue is always going to be whether they redenominate or not. And people still don't understand what that is. Okay. What are you saying there, John? I listened to your show a while back when you said the current bills would be good to buy. I got a few stacks of 50s years ago. Not bonds or trends or 50s. Are these good? Which bills are you talking about? I don't ever talk about the Zims. Nobody should ever get into the Zim dollars, man. That was just my opinion. But the dinar, yeah, it's a good investment. And even if, okay, so here's the deal, because people really confuse what I'm saying. If they redenominate, okay, then yes, you lose the zeros. But if you're one of those people that believe that Iraq is going to be the strongest currency out there, then you should be just fine. You know what I mean? Just fine. What happened to my deals with money metals? Something came up and we didn't see eye to eye on that I thought and it did bring in a lot of money. And so we just didn't get on the same page. We just parted amicably. So yeah. Anyways, Andy been wanting me on with Miles Franklin, so I was happy to join them. And besides that, I like Andy, and I talk a lot with Chris, so I was very happy to join them. But yeah, so I know a lot of people were expecting to get millions of dollars. That doesn't mean it can't happen. I find it interesting that in that book, they're talking about the lower denominations have been created for Iraq, but have not been used because they have no value. So what does that mean? I mean, are they going to continue to use these currencies without redenominating? If that's so, well, then yeah, people have an opportunity to make a lot of money. So people ask me, do you think that's going to happen? I say, it's not possibilities we're dealing with, it's probabilities. Okay. It's a big difference. You got to think about how it affects Iraq. I did that article. I read that article that Mountain Goat wrote, because everybody's like, oh, you should read Mountain Goat's information. I go, I don't read anybody's information, but I went through and read it. And for the most part, me and Mountain Goat see eye to eye on a lot of things. The only thing I don't see eye to eye with Mountain Goat's article was she was stating in country, you might have something like a 1-to-1 rate, but out of country, you might have something like one dinar is worth $3 and something cents, and you can swap it in for, then she said, multiply it times your 25,000 dinar. That's how much money you get. And I was like, yeah, I don't agree with that. And I don't see two rates, in country or out of country. And I was telling everybody there is no such thing as an in country rate and an out of country rate. Come to find out that's not true. But the way it's being used in the dinar community is wrong. The only time you're going to have an in-country and out-of-country rate is if a country uses multiple currencies. Of course, they're going to have to be able to swap their local currency or national currency for whatever other currencies are there. So that's why you will have an in-country rate versus out-of-country rate, which is a little bit different. But it's not being used that way in the Iraqi community. They're talking about, oh, out of country, you guys should get a lot more money for your dinars than in country. No, it should always stay. The actual rate where you swap will always be between 1 to 3% difference. So if you are in country or out of country, the difference between the two rates would be somewhere between 1 to 3%. That's not a lot. But again, you guys, this is just people's that book. These are people sharing their opinions. They are experts in these fields. I understand that, but doesn't mean it's going to happen the way you think it is. I just want you to be prepared for that. It's not me being negative. I'm just saying to you, just be prepared because there are, other possibilities. If Iraq does redenominate and it loses zeros, well, then your 25,000 dinar becomes a 25 dinar. And if they change it to, let's say, what are you saying here? 325 rate? Let's say it's 325. Then take your 25 dinar and multiply it times $3.25. That's what you can exchange it for. That is a possibility. Is it possible they leave the zeros in and change the exchange rate to 325? Sure, that's a possibility. Okay. But I don't want people to get to a point where all of a sudden, you go to exchange your currency and you're like, wait a minute, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a millionaire. I thought I was going to be rich. And you get really depressed over it. That's why I want people to be grounded and understand that there are other possibilities. Okay. There's a possibility. Sure, you can make a profit, but it ain't going to be in the millions. It could be in the thousands instead. Okay. Just understand that. So it's like, Pimpy's so negative. He says negative things. No, I'm the one that tells you the truth. I'm the one that's showing you. I literally show you the articles. I show you the links. I show you the studies. I'm the only one out there that does that. And if I make a boo-boo, guess what? I'm going to come back and correct that as well. I don't have a problem with that. This isn't about who's right or wrong. It's who's about getting the truthful information out there to you guys without misleading you guys. I don't want you guys to be misled. So if I'm the bad guy in that, fine, I'll be the bad guy. I don't care. But I'm going to tell you guys the truth so that you're prepared for it. So yes, when I did the formula, it came out to $3.56 per dinar. Yes, that's exciting. But the bigger question is, are they going to redenominate? Because that exchange rate, holding on to 25,000 dinar times 356, yeah, that's exciting, man. Obviously, that's exciting. But versus holding on to a 25 dinar versus 356, it's a little bit different. Okay. So I the formula was crazy based on all the statistics. We're talking about the purchasing power parity, the market power parity, taking all these different formulas and doing number crunching made my brain hurt. Good Lord, man. It was crazy to track these things down. So when it was all said and done, what it came out to was $3.56. I was wondering how many people were close to that. Were you asking me about the Zim notes? What about them? The Zimbabwe stock is called the ZIG. You can look it up online. Yeah, I know about it. I did an article about it, Kathy. It's called the ZIG, the gold backed dollar. Now they released a what was that? The gold coin. Remember that? And it stabilized their economy. And then all of a sudden it started to blow up in smoke again. And so this is why they came with these gold back ZIG dollars. We'll see if they work. Zimbabwe's problem is they're so corrupt. And I mean, Iraq is bad, but Zimbabwe is terrible. They just had elections where the person that was voted in as president, supposedly, you know what I mean, killed his opponent. That's not the people aren't going to invest in countries like that where they're that corrupt, blatantly killing each other's political opponents is not cool, man. Just terrible. Sorry, I chuckle a little bit, but it's just terrible, terrible. Does the formula take into account that we have currency with lots of zeros? They talk about the redenomination in the study. They didn't say one way or another. They're saying that's something that was talked about, but the formula does not take in consideration the denominations of the bills. It just gives you the formula to calculate out what the exchange rate is going to be. That's it. You heard everything's to be done by June. I thought everything is supposed to be done by April 17th. Isn't that what everybody said? somebody said it's going to be done by the end of Ramadan, which I believe is today. And then somebody said, no, no, remember the 17th. I go, they said March 17th. Now they're saying April 17th. Aren't you guys tired of that yet? You guys have to be. You listen to these other content creators constantly do this crap and still pissed at what I say. Okay. Seriously. I think it's funny. Are the Zim notes any good? Just understand this: when a country redenominates, like Zimbabwe has, I think 7 times in the last 10 years, once they redenominate the old currency becomes obsolete. You have to exchange it. Kathy says Pimpy encourages people to research themselves. Yes, I do. That's why last night I left it there with no answers to it. I was curious to see how many people could figure it out. So yeah, your Zimbabwe notes, you have to exchange them. You have to just go to a currency exchange. You should be able to exchange your old ones for new ones. That's the idea behind it, anyways. They are 50 bills printed in 2020. You're talking about the dinars, Tom? John? Is that right? John. Yeah. John, you talking about the 50 dinars? Yeah. The thing is, now they're talking about whether to turn the 50 dinar note into a 1 dinar note. And the guy laid out the reason why they should do that. No, I think what they're going to do is try to parallel what is out there. So we have the 1, the 5, the 10, the 20, the 50, and 100. I think what they're going to try to do is, most of their currencies they already have printed, not released to the public, match those almost one for one. So I don't think they have a 1 dinar, but I think the other ones are there. What are you saying, altcoin? What you say? Pimpy, you the man. Thank you for all you do for the community. Thank you for the truth. You're very welcome. Look, you guys, I do this just because I understand there's a lot of people out there that are looking for, I hate to say it this way, but looking for hope. There's a lot of people that actually reach out to me and say, we're just mad at you because a lot of us, they got problems, man. They got health problems, they got health bills, they got financial problems. And, they're like, well, you're shattering our dreams. I'm not shattering your dreams. People out there lying to you are shattering your dreams. I'm just a guy saying to you, just be prepared. I'm not saying it's not going to happen to you guys. I said this a million times. I didn't say it wasn't going to happen. I'm just saying you should be aware that there's other options. This is I believe it has to happen between the 13th and 15th of this month. Charlie Ward goes to Brazil after Nashville on the 13th. Charlie Ward is still out there doing this thing. Is that right? I know Charlie. Pimpy, did you hear anything about the U.S. and Iraq coming to an agreement regarding the coalition? Sounds like they may have to compromise. Well, I think that's the last step for Iraq is to have the coalition forces out of there. They turned over their funds to them. Remember I was telling everybody that Iraq has to ask for permission, literally, whenever they use their money on their budgets? Not anymore. Not at all. Iraq now has full control of their own funds. That's a major, major issue. I mean, that's a major step for Iraq. But my concern is with Maliki's government in power, they've been there for the past 20 years. My concern is what happens when you turn over that type of money to a group of corrupt politicians like that. You can obviously see that al-Sadani is not part of their group. That's why they want to remove them. And I believe they're going ahead with early elections. Let's hope that they don't get rid of him. Seriously. Because he seems to be hell-bent on doing what's right for the Iraqi people. At least that's what it appears like. You say there, Benjamin? Well, what if I hear... If what I hear is correct, Florida Keys fishing trip is on the calendar. Oh my God, I would love that. Florida Keys fishing, I would love that. I want to go up to Prince Edward Island and do a tuna fish is what I want to do. That's one of my biggest dreams. That's on my bucket list. Definitely going, big game fishing for tuna up at Prince Edward Island. That's what I want to do. Pimpy, I understand you. Do you have a gut feeling that you may think could happen? And so you want to see what my feeling is? Thomas, truthfully, my feeling about this is they will redenominate and you will have the lower notes. And the reason why I feel that way is if they have the bigger notes, the ones, the hyperinflated notes, and then change exchange rate to $3, you got to understand the impact that's going to have on their economy. It will be a big impact. Change in the purchasing power for the Iraqi people is necessary and important. So they're not going to do it to allow, millions, if not billions of dollars to fly out of their country. It would just hurt them. So, my gut feeling is they're going to redenominate and then change the exchange rate right after that to where that should be, somewhere around $3 and something cents per dinar. So, I got 5 million. If it goes to $3 and something, I made 15,000. I'm a happy camper with that. It's better than not having anything. I understand for a lot of you, you're like, no, 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 that's not good because that's not what I had in mind. And I'm sorry, but you're asking me my opinion. That is my opinion. That they will redenominate the currency, lop off the zeros. Your 25,000 dinar will become a 25, and then they'll reinstate the old rate. If well, it won't be the old rate. There are too many years in between, so they're going to calculate it based on a formula. It's around $3.56 per dinar. They would literally be the richest currency. Absolutely. What are you saying there, Purchase? Saying, I'm hoping what I read was true, and the meeting on the 15th will be the declaration of the end of the war. Well, it's already been presented. To get rid of the presidential's war powers. That's the end of the war. But it's went through the House and installed in the Senate. I don't know why they refuse to give it up because it gives the president all kinds of powers that you don't want him to have. RV, what are you saying? Our 2008 Zim is trash. Mark Z is saying the 2008 are bonds. They are different. I call BS. I did a video explaining to you guys about the bond notes. And I also showed you an article straight from the Central Bank of Zimbabwe. There was a timeline on them. On the back of those dollars, it tells you what the deadline is for turning it in. Just because just because it's a bond or says it's a bond doesn't mean it's forever. You know what I mean? No, it tells you on there when the bond expires. So find that. I don't have very many Zim videos in there, but you can find that Zim video, and I show you the article coming directly from Zimbabwe Central Bank talking about the bond notes. Okay, they are telling people no, those are no longer any good. The time has expired on them. And Mark Z can say whatever the hell he wants. Tell him to stop smoking what he's trying to deliver. That's his problem. It says Pimpy, I read the executive order 1303 that was signed in 2003. That said I would be discussed. Said it. What did it say? It would be discussed on April 15th. Does that mean? Well, again, you guys, at 13. Okay, I know there's all this hype about Executive Order 13303. All that does is talk about the protection of the assets for Iraq and encouraging people to invest in Iraq. So it's protecting the investors, anybody that wants to invest in there, but also protecting the assets of Iraq. Okay, period. That's what it was for. Now that they've removed one of those protections, Iraq is open now to being sued by these people who wanted to sue them for things that happened to them. That's going to affect their economy if indeed these people, if it opens up the floodgates for lawsuits. So that protection has been removed, with the exception of, this is funny, with the exception of oil and we call that petrol products. So in that case, those are still protected. PPI family in Kenya over there. Is that Alaska? Oh, you have friends that flying fishing trips? Jim, is that right? Oh, well, hit me up. I'm curious how much that costs. That's definitely a dream of mine. So you got friends over there in Alaska. For those you don't know, you just got to go onto the YouTube and see Prince. Just put in their PEI tuna fishing, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Those are fights. They're big fights. Cody's asking me, where are you going to exchange your large 3-0 notes for the smaller denomination? Well, as soon as they make the announcement, they should give you instructions on what to do with the notes that you have. But for the most part, I'll probably have to go to exchange like everybody else and swap them out. The only thing I don't like about that situation is them guys taking a huge premium. What I'm hoping happens is they go ahead and they delete the zeros, we still hold on to our dinars, and when they change the exchange rate, we can trade in our old notes right when we exchange it for US dollars. So they'll still give you the rate of 326, but it won't be against a 25,000 dinar. That 25,000 will be treated like a 25 dinar. So you just do it at your bank. Alinger, what are you saying? What if Iraq do a 76 cents and keep the. So you're asking if they keep the zeros on there and they go to 76 cents? I mean, that too. That's good. That's good profit for me. I'll take that. Is it possible to do that? Here's the thing, Island Girl. I keep telling you, nobody knows what goes through the crazy minds of these people. You know what I mean? It's the central bank that's going to make the ultimate decision. But understand, this is a country that's trying to rebuild. So they're going to do what's less painful for them. Sure, they need the purchasing power. Somebody said, last night I was responded to the comments, and somebody still said to me, "No, it's impossible. They can't do these major projects with an exchange rate of 1,320 dinars." I was like, "Are you not paying attention? Are you not paying attention?" I showed. That's the thing. I go through and debunk all these crazy things that are out there. They are doing projects. They've been doing them for the past 20 years with low exchange rates. The exchange rate is already taken into consideration when they make their budgets. You know what I mean? Kathy's asked me, what do you think is the best to invest in? You see, you're talking to a guy that's, I am a gold and silver person just because I'm into protecting my wealth and protecting my family. Now, it's a slow investment. If you're into gold and silver just for the money, that is probably a bad investment for you. But if you're into protect your wealth, that's the best investment for you. I know there's people's retirement accounts I warned about, cheese 2 years ago, to move some of your like 30% of your IRAs or your 401ks over into gold and silver. Because if the stocks take a dump, then your pensions are getting hit. And when the stock market started to drop, their pensions took a huge hit. I go, see, if you haven't done it yet, better do it now. Move over to Miles Franklin. You guys seen that video? You guys see on my video, there's a number there. Just tell them you want to move X amount of money from your IRAs over into physical gold and silver. Protect yourself. I'm telling you. I've done a video showing you guys how gold has always kept its purchasing power. Hopefully, you guys paid attention to this. I said in 1932, you could have bought a house for like $4,000, two-story, beautiful house, big, beautiful house, right? And it costs like if you had to pay with gold, gold is what, $32 an ounce. I think all in all, you had to have 174 ounces of gold in order to own that home. If you had that same 174 ounces of gold today, can you buy a home? Yes. What does that come out to real quick? Let me see. So 174 ounces, I'll just use a round number on gold's at 2,300, I'll say. It's $400,200. So see what I mean by holding its purchasing price? You could have bought a home in 1932 with gold. You could buy a home in 2024 with the same amount of gold. That hasn't changed. The same amount of gold, you guys. If you had 174 ounces of gold in the 30s, you could have bought a home. With those same 174 ounces of gold today, you still could buy a home. And I'm not talking about a small home, pretty decent home. It just depends on where you live. Obviously, not here in California, but $400,000 will get you a decent house in California too. All right. Sorry, you guys. I have a huge TV as my computer monitor. Unfortunately, the way it's tilted, the half of the computer is way over there. And I swear, as I get older, my eyesight's getting terrible. So gold and silver to me is the safest investment. Now I'm gonna say something crazy because my friend said, "Don't you think you might be hurting your listeners by being so biased on cryptos?" I said, "Cryptos scared the hell out of me, especially when I warn people about these major bankers getting involved." And I said it was gonna happen like 3-4 years ago. I said, "Watch, J.P. Morgan, all these banks, they're gonna start getting into cryptocurrencies." And sure enough, what do we see happening? ETFs, that's the worst thing, or EFTs. These are the worst things ever. And I go, that we gold holders and precious metals holders know what it's like to have them all up in your business. That's called paper Bitcoin. They use paper gold and silver to manipulate the prices. You don't want that to happen. Not to mention, if they buy enough Bitcoin, then they could drain the liquidity if they want to, and that's not a good thing. But having said all that, just in case, I said that my suggestion might be that people do invest in Bitcoin, just in case. You don't have to buy a full Bitcoin. You could buy, if you have $20 worth, you could buy $20 worth of Bitcoin. So I was saying, okay, maybe they take up maybe 10% of their holdings and put it into Bitcoin, but definitely more into gold and silver. That's just my opinion. Hector, are you saying you live on? Is that right? You live in the Keys? Oh my gosh. See, Alaska is different. You have to plan that trip out. I mean, I could just jump over and head over to Florida Keys real quick. Tell me you have all the fishing equipment. Is that right, Hector? Do you have a boat? We'll have a Pimpy party at your place. He said, so we've been waiting all these years just to get back a couple of $1,000? Well, I'm not saying that's for sure what's going to happen, but that is a possibility, you guys. Make sure you listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying one way or another is going to happen for sure. My opinion is, that's just my gut feeling. They're going to delete the zeros, redenominate, and then you'll see the exchange rate go up. So I only invested like a couple of thousand into Iraqi dinar. I got about 5 million dinars. So my 5 million now becomes 15,000. Sure, I would love for it to be millions of dollars. Who doesn't? But it's not like I'm going to be, you know, upset at 15,000. With $15,000, there's a lot of things I could do. I definitely be in Vegas. Cody's saying history has proven time and time again, gold and silver is the best and safest bet. Absolutely, absolutely. And it's the economy. You guys got to understand, it's not a real thing that we see. It's being pumped up. It's being artificially kept up. All these things are in a bubble. We have a bond bubble. We have a crypto bubble. We have a real estate bubble. We have a stock market bubble. And when a doo-doo does hit the fan, it's going to happen all at one time. So this isn't an ad for Trump, but the one guy that had numbers going in the right direction and it was Trump, and he was doing it not artificially because, like we see now, look, the Dems do whatever it can to stay in the power. Yeah, Trump had people working against him, not with him. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, and he still was able to produce the types of numbers that he did. It's really good. Pimpy, all these gurus say the Zim will pay off the Zimbabwe debt. Where would they get that from? They make it up in their head, just like they tell people that the Iraqi dinar is going to give you millions of dollars. Is that possible? Sure, but Zimbabwe's case, no, no, because Zimbabwe is redenominated 7, 8 times. You guys, seriously, you can go back to my videos. I show you where the central bank of Zimbabwe tells them that those bond notes had a time frame on them. They're expired. And I know they keep hyping, it's a bond. They owe. They did owe. And they did make promises. But if you look on the back of those notes, it tells you when the date of it expiring. I did so many articles about that. I mean, I did so many videos about that. Hey, Pimpy, what's the fuel price where I am? In Australia, it's $9.08. Not what is it, $1.98 a liter. So, for us, it's in a gallon. So, isn't it times 3? Is that right for you? But it's almost $6 a gallon. Is that right? Eek. I think right down the street from us, it's 4.85 where I'm at per gallon. 4.85 per gallon. And the funny thing is, another gas station, Shell, right next to it, literally right next to it, and their gas prices are just a little above $5. I don't know how they get to be literally right next door to one another because you're going to go to the cheapest gas. I don't know. Some people are weird. They go to Shell because they think it's cleaner gas than other places. It's crazy. It's my understanding the only way anyone will get anything in the Zim bonds or the aggro checks. I did the thing about the aggro checks too. Is if they open a historic trust and it sounds wonderful. Yes, I have some, but put it in a trust. You could put your money in a trust, but keep in mind, you guys, if the currency is obsolete, it isn't going to matter if it's in a trust or not. There's no tricks to this. You know what I mean? There's no, hey, I'm going to trick the system by doing it this way instead of that way. That's not going to happen. Okay. Like someone, like when someone said, hey, Pimpy, well, in country, they could redenominate. So their 25,000 dinar becomes a 25, but out of country, we still hold on to the 25,000 dinars. So if they revalue, and let's say it goes to $3, they can trade their currency in and get the $3 rate. I was like, okay, first of all, why would Iraqis trade in their Iraqi dollars? They don't need to exchange it for anything. That doesn't make sense. Hi, I'm in Iraq and I want to trade my Iraqi dollars in for a bunch of American dollars. Well, if they get rid of the American dollars, then all you have is the dinar. There's no dual currencies. So what are you going to trade it for? More Iraqi dinars? No, it's not going to work that way. What about the Indonesia rupee? I've been keeping an eye on the rupee as well as Malaysia's. What is it? The bot. The only problem I have with over there where Malaysia is, Vietnam is that China's been showing her ass lately, and I'm concerned of what they're going to do to that whole territory. That could really kill those currencies and their economies. Vietnam's economy is untouchable. Yes, was it last year? They were the best, fastest growing. So that's exciting to see. But again, they're dealing with corrupt politicians, but they are rounding up their corrupt politicians, throwing them in jail. So my hope is that these people get enough of them rounded up, and then whoever takes over, decides to go ahead and let the currency do what it's supposed to do, free float, and go up to its true value. That'd be nice. Jim is saying, for someone new to stacking, how many ounces would be a good stack in a bank fiat collapse? Oh, good Lord. Well, then if the fiat collapses like we are anticipating, I don't think there's a limit on there, but somebody did a video that I like a whole lot. They said 10,000 silver ounces is the goal for people who are going to retire. Because if you have 10,000 ounces, right? And he did this thing where he got his social security money. And he said, so if I take my social security money and then every month I take in X amount of silver ounces, that comes up to like an additional $600 or $700, which isn't very many. He goes, if I do this every month, between my supplement and my silver that I'm selling, his that's a lot of money for him. He said I can more than survive off of what he was making. Let me see if I can find that video, or I'll do the calculations and figure this out for you. Maybe I have my questions about Mr. C. The Chinese going to the old guy's house in Pennsylvania. I don't, that guy is. I showed a picture of Mr. C's house just to screw with him. I said, "Yeah, do you guys trust a guy that lives in a house that looks like this?" So he's he had a lawyer that actually did go after this American Trust Fund thing. That was real, but nothing ever became of it. And I said, well, that old saying, if a tree falls in the forest and you don't hear it, did it really make a sound? That's kind of like what it comes down to. But for him to run around and say, I have some magical codes to put in, I have some magical codes, and I'm going to free the world. Well, people are like, well, asshole, free the freaking world, man. What are you waiting for? Seriously. If you have these so-called magical codes, what are you waiting for? What is it? Oh, this people are going to take it away. People, what take it away? If this scene, what does it claim that they put the code in and then money automatically goes to everybody's bank account? Isn't that what it is? Well, if the money gets to the bank account, I guarantee people get their hands on it faster than they could take it from them. You know what I mean? So no. Pimpy, where is a good place to learn how to do day trades on cryptos? Yeah. Oh man, day trades on cryptos. That's an area I'm not familiar with. The one person I listen to is he's an asshole, but he's really knowledgeable. It comes to cryptocurrencies is Chico Crypto, and a lot of people hate him because he's a lot like me. You know, you tell people what's going on, and he's not a pumper. So since he's not a pumper, people don't like that. Are you saying, Pimpy, to your knowledge, have there ever been an existing currency where governments didn't lock before they increased the exchange rate for hyperinflated dollars? No, you got no. I've tried to find where that might be possible. In all instances that I've seen, that's not happened. They lopped the zeros off first before they changed the exchange rate. That's when a person said, "What is your gut feeling?" If I'm being honest, then they're going to redenominate first because the damage it would do to your economy to be having an exchange rate of $3 plus with hyperinflated currency, that would just kill your economy, man. Patriot Man was saying the Mr. C story is too far fetched and then some. He's like an old hippie, you guys. You got to understand who he is. He's an old time hippie. Not that I have anything against hippie. I love hanging around hippies. They're funny, but he's a hippie like. So, did Quate knock off zeros? No. Quate is not. I know people like to make the comparison, but Quate never had to create hyperinflated dollars, then delete the zeros. That never happened. The only reason why they lowered the value of the Kuwait dollars was to protect their wealth because when Iraq invaded them, they started taking all the money out of the bank and keeping all their money. And so, you know, to protect them, you devalue those currencies. And Iraq was there maybe 7 months. And as soon as they were removed, then the new dollars were printed and their rate was reinstated right away. So it wasn't devalued that long and they redenominated as soon as they got Iraq out of there. So when they redenominate, they replace the old bills with the new bills. That's what happened. I know there's out there people going, no, man, lopping off zeros. No, that's never going to happen. But the deletion of the zeros is going to happen. I'm like, it's the same thing. The lop of the zeros, the deletion of the zeros, the removing of the zeros, the reducing of the zeros, all that is redenominating is what it is. Are you saying there, Benjamin? Woodstock 2025? Oh my gosh, I watched this documentary on the first Woodstock. All the artists that were there, unbelievable, man. To now, me, I'm a originalist when it comes to music. So to be able to go back in the 60s and see all those bands that were there. Did you guys know that Bruce Willis had his own band called Bruno? You guys know that performed at Woodstock? Yeah, Bruce Willis. You know, unfortunately, Bruce Willis is passing away. He's really sick. He's got a Alzheimer. So prayers with him and his family. That's how old I'm getting. Dude, somebody showed a Gene Hackman what it looks like today. I was floored. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting old. And I don't know it. I have to see how old I'm getting through the way other people look like. People I grew up with that look really, really old. I'm like, ugh, that's terrible. I must be old. I personally think that Dinar will come out at around 70 cents to 11 with no lop. Hey, look, I mean, they're saying if they redenom, well, if they move it to 76 cents, I'll take it. Look, that's why I keep telling people, I know, thank you, Jim, I appreciate it. Here's my thing. I know what everybody wants. But when I was saying, no, we don't want a redenomination. We don't want them to lob the zeros. We want them to keep going up in increments, the values of the currency. I say that a million times. And people are like, no, don't we want the deletion of the zeros? I was like, no, that just shows you that the other content creators don't know what they're talking about. I'm sitting there going, no, we don't want them to do that. We want them to continue to increase the exchange rate while we still have the current currency that we have. The more it goes up, the more money we get back. Okay. So it's like, go, no, don't change it. I mean, don't delete the zeros, keep it the same. Keep the currency the same. Now, understand how expensive it is to redenominate. It's very, very, very expensive, you guys. Very expensive. So is it worth them, going through redenomination? I don't know. We're gonna see. You know what I mean? How old am I? Is that what you're asking me, Mark? I am 56 years old. I just turned 56 in March. Me and Jesus had the same birthday. So he said, "No, you're John the Baptist." And I was like, "No, it's Jesus. It's backwards. Jesus, 1 Nissan 6 BC. That's when Jesus was born. I know the church doesn't tell you that, but that's when he was born. The whole story about the manger should tell you that he was born in the spring and not in December. Not that I want to go back and forth with people. Here come Christians and everybody else will attack me. All my friends are getting old. Yeah, the funny thing is, I look at them, I go, man, you're old. I still look young, and you look old. Yeah. Val Kilmer got me vexed on age. Yeah, man, Val Kilmer, poor guy. But he's suffering from all kinds of sicknesses and stuff. And Val Kilmer, dude, his role as Doc Holliday with Wild Earp, that's the best role he'll ever play. I love that movie. His character on Wild Earp being Doc Holliday was the best. You can exchange your. I tell you what, I will go out and see where you guys can exchange your Zim notes for you. Okay, I'll let you know and find out if they'll take the much older ones, the 2008 currency. I'll find out how they handle those. Okay, and I will let everybody know. How does the forex play into this? The rate is around 266. Where did you see that forex exchange rate at? Jake, I was just wondering if you could tell me where you saw that. I'm curious. I'll be your huckleberry. That's what I love that. Otherwise, what's the other one? You're no Daisy. You're no Daisy. Oh yeah, Jim. Yeah, Jim. Good call. Yeah, Val Kilmer played a great Jim Morrison. Yes, he did. Almost, it was pretty scary how much he looked alike. Chevy turned 56 June 27th. You're 1 week after me. When do I think precious metals will be unattainable? Let me tell you something, man. They're running short. So we have like silver has a demand by the industry and industrial use. They never, for the past 6 or 7 years, they have not been able to keep up with their demand. So, as far as silver is concerned, it's getting harder and harder. The crazy thing about this is the movie industry uses more silver than any other industry because the screens that they use is made with the silver. So they have a higher demand than anybody else does for the use of silver. So we're having a hard time keeping up with them. And then you have collectors like me. I get the coins. I not only do I like it for their precious metal value, but also collectibles. That's why I love the gold buffaloes. Oh my God. If you guys can ever own a gold coin, you should get the 1 ounce gold buffalo coins. You want to see a thing of beauty. But I've had gold coins and I've had silver coins. When you get those silver coins in your hand, God, man, they're so beautiful. There's something about having silver coins that you absolutely love. Nasera Jacera is a myth, in my opinion. So, Mark, I posted on my Pimpy's news network a video from 2005. It's a documentary on QAnon. I mean, on Nasera Jacera. Sorry, not QAnon. Nasera Jacera. And that's from 2005. And you know how John F. Kennedy Jr. is a hero today? You know who the hero was in 2005? Bill Clinton. He was supposed to save everybody. Bill Clinton's going to save everybody. You know how they talk about Trump? Trump's going to save everybody. And in this Jacera, in 2005, it was Bill Clinton. Now, for the new wave of Nasera Jacera, Bill Clinton's the bad guy. So I think it's funny how it changes. Just keep it going. Keep it going. Defense contractors use silver a lot. Yes, they do. I think it's 5 pounds per missile. 5 pounds on the missile head of silver. Wow. Yeah, Kathy, in order for you to pull out large amounts of money from the bank, this is what these people are doing. They're putting restrictions on how much money you could pull out. My thing is my freaking money. If I want it, you better give it to me now. But they're telling me, well, we don't actually carry that much cash. What? They don't. So if you're going to get large amounts of cash, you have to call ahead of time so they can order it and have it there for you. It's crazy. And that movie for the Doors, yeah, Val Kilmer, I think, sung for himself. That's my understanding too. Inside your country is 1-1. Is that right? Oh, it's Asar. There you are, buddy. I love responding to his comments. He's so polite. Asar, thank you for telling me to check out Mountain Goat. I hope you've seen that video that I did. So me and Mountain Goat are. It's funny because it's a female. I didn't know Mountain Goat was a female. I was like, why isn't her name Mountain Nanny? Because it's not a female goat, a nanny. Anyways, the article, me and her are almost eye to eye. We see almost the same thing. We're very much on the same page, except for when she talks about out of country forex rate being 326. So she's trying to say there's going to be a rate of 326 outside of Iraq, but an exchange of 1-to-1 inside of Iraq. No, that's not going to happen. I showed you guys in there where it says the difference between the two currencies is never going to be more than 1 to 3% just because of fluctuations in the market. No, I'll go back and check it. What's it? Inside of our country, it's 1-to-1. What is what are you talking about? What is 1-to-1? Which one? Sorry, which one is that one? Oh, US to Japan, Euro to USD are all on our. You say all out of country rates trading with the dollar 1-to-1. Is that what it is? After looking at it, it's pretty interesting. I'm sure a lot of people would take 1-to-1. Who wouldn't want 1-to-1? I'd be happy with 1-to-1. If I'm being honest, I'd be happy if it was 76 cents and we kept the zeros. I'd be happy with that. How I would be happy with 50 cents if they kept the zeros. If I think about how I'd be happy with 25 cents if they kept the zeros. That's the issue, whether or not they remove the zeros. Are you saying there? Yes, but a male would be called a ram or a mountain goat is unisex, actually. Is it really? A mountain goat. I was like, well, I thought they called female goats a nannies or does. That's the other thing. They go mountain does. Yeah. Is that right? She part of this new transgender movement thing with right pronouns. She can be either or. Is that what it is? Militia Man goes on and on. It wouldn't be a lop. Frank also. That's because they don't know what they're talking about, you guys. I'm sorry. They're nice people, man. I'm sure they are. Look, I have no doubt that if we all ran into each other somewhere and there's a bar by, we probably keep back and have drinks and just talk about stuff and have a good time. Seriously, we just don't agree. Let's put it this way. I'm going to tell you guys about all the possibilities, all of them, good, bad, or ugly. They won't do that. I'm not saying what they're talking about won't happen, but I'm saying there's other options there's other possibilities out there. And the one that's most likely is going to be the lop or the deletion of the zeros. And they're not going to tell you that because they don't want their listeners pissed at them because they've been hyping up the dinar for so long, so long. So yeah, let's see, Militia Man, I think he's a real estate appraiser is what he is in real life. And then Frank, I don't know what the hell Frank does. I know about Frank's family, but more than I know about him. And his dad is a real respectful guy, man. I literally could do a video on why he could easily be one of my heroes. I'm not even kidding. That's how much into the community Frank's father was a great guy, man. You know, I don't know how he was a person. I never met him, but what I know of him, he was a really great guy. For some of you guys might know this, might not know this. Did you guys know that Frank's father is the youngest man on record to ever join the Air Force? He was 14 years old when he joined the Air Force. He just didn't tell the truth about his age, man. 14 years. So he was in I think he served 30 or 39 years in the Air Force. It's a great guy, man. Oh my God. Silver's at 28.33 today. Is that right? I told everybody once it cracks 27, it's really going to take off. And I said once gold cracked 2,300, you're going to see it really take off. What are we looking at here? Here we go. Let me just take a quick peek, you guys. Let me see where gold and silver is for the day. Uh, goes at $2,372. Wow, man, silver is above $28. Look, I've been telling you guys, I hope you guys bought in when you did. There's people when I first came on, like over 4 years ago, when gold was like $11 an ounce. And I kept telling people right then, people jumped on a whole bunch of it when I first told them to. So you guys are sitting pretty, man, way up there in value. When will silver break 30? Well, at the rate it's going, probably by the end of this week or the beginning of next, if it keeps it up at the pace it's moving. I mean, it is jumping up quick, you guys. Quick. I told you silver is scarce, not as easily accessible like you do gold. So definitely want to be in silver. All right, looks like YouTube is giving me my signal. Anyways, listen, you guys, I love when you guys chime in. I appreciate having you aboard. I'm not the messenger of bad news. I mean, I'm just going to tell you the possibilities, just so you stay grounded and you're not, expecting something not to happen. Um, for those of you who were able to go figure out the formulas and came up with the 356 rate, congratulations, because that was the answer. But it was a lot of fun. So that's what this person is projecting. If you don't know what I'm talking about, for those of you who just jumped on, go to my last video on there. There's a study, I guess would be the best way to explain to people. This person did on the Iraqi dinar, and he's talking about as soon as they leverage out their inflation, which they did, level it out, and then the price parity to Iraq, the price parity is equal again to where it was, then the exchange rate will go back to where pre-Gulf War value is what he's saying. So that's exciting. But look, you guys, sure, it might go to a $3 rate, but what you got to cross your fingers is they don't get rid of the zeros. And how realistic is that? I don't think that's realistic. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm not rooting for it. Come on, you guys, I own 5 million Iraqi dinars. You don't think I don't want it to go to $3 and we just keep the same dinars? I would love that. All right. Anyways, you guys take care. I appreciate you guys chiming in, and I'll get at you later. I'm out.